What's up?
How are you?
Fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful. So how's the day so far?
Everything is fantastic. No complaints. Where I live, every day is like paradise.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
By the way, if you can see it,
Yes.
let's see. That is that's the music from my Pro Tools of the mix for Lucifer, which is the video that's coming out the day of the album. It's the second video.
Amazing, amazing. So it's almost done.
Yeah. Did you get to see the first video with just Bruce singing?
Yes, yes, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks. He's fantastic.
Bruce has joined.
So this is, while he's coming on, let me tell you just a little background of us. I had a small recording studio in Boston in a band. And I used to go to New York City to try and sell music. This is when I was a kid, young, a kid. And finally, I got to know some people. And this one guy from RCA Records, Andy Francis, said, "Look, Ray, we don't want to keep coming to Boston to see your bands. You have to either move here to New York or Los Angeles." So I said, I'm sick of the winter. So I said, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. So I hit a small RV and we went to Los Angeles. And shortly after that, I met Bruce. I was playing in a band, and I recorded some stuff with Terry Bozzio and Gary Lake, the bass player. And Bruce, we sent some stuff to Bruce, which was typical back then. We rehearsed above an Italian restaurant. And so Bruce really liked what we were doing. And he came and he started playing bass with the band. And within maybe probably 15 or maybe a month, the band wasn't really working out. So Bruce and I said, let's get together and maybe make some music and maybe we can sell it for commercials, right? We didn't know what we were doing. So we were trying to sell the music. We did about 5 songs, right? And 2 of the songs Bruce and I did, we loved, and we knew we wouldn't sell them. It was End of Time and Digging That Grave. So we said, let's just form a band around this. And so in 1980, late 83 or 84, we started putting together a band. And one thing led to another. And then shortly after that, Metal Blade wanted to put out another song that we did, End of Time. And, one thing led to another. We ended up with Jesters of Destiny. Yeah, it's crazy the way stuff works.
I can't remember why, but I had the record pulled out a day or two ago, Metal Massacre 5, and it says we're the last song on the album, and it says at the bottom of our credits, recorded Halloween 1983, which I guess is true. I don't really remember that detail, but that's what it says.
Is that what it said?
That's what it says. I remember, for some reason, my brain said Halloween 1984, which is even more doomsday, but I guess it was 83.
You can't believe everything you read, right?
That's true. Well, the record came out, I want to say, in 84, and then, or maybe it was 85, and then our actual album with Metal Blade came out in 86.
Good.
It always takes us a few years to get something done. Still and still.
It's true. It's true. So, Ray and Bruce, a real pleasure to meet you both today in this interview. Thank you so much for giving me your time here today. Thank you so much for that. And your new album, Distorting Everything, is to be out on October 25th. So would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting and the production behind this new upcoming album?
Well, Ray kind of kicked it into gear. We had... it's funny because in the pandemic, everyone sort of learned how to record remotely, but all the way back to like early 2000s, the people who had reissued our record also have a band called Circle, sort of Finland's answer to Sigur Rós or something. I don't know how to explain it, but they're sort of this prog experimental, very prolific band. I did some stuff with them. Back then, I had just gotten Pro Tools and we were sending tracks back and forth on DVD. That's how long ago it was. But nowadays you can do the same thing and just do it through email or WeTransfer or something like that. So around about 10 years after that, in 2010, 12, 11, 13, all that stuff, we started sending songs back and forth, Ray and I, and we go, geez, these sound like we weren't doing anything. We were just sharing what we were recording with each other. And we go, these are like Jester songs. And you go, oh, well, let's do a record. So we just, you know, started kind of in our spare time putting together this album. That became the reunion album.
Yeah.
You know, so The Sorrows That Refused to Drown. And it was done casually, almost like a hobby in our spare time. Got it done, came out 2017. And as soon as it was out, Ray was like, let's do another one. I was sort of like, well, geez, we got any material? We got any time? What? I mean, I don't even know if the label will want to put it out again because they just did this and they did. So we just started working on it kind of from nowhere. And I had a few things laying around and sent them to him. He picked like 3. So we had 3 songs we started with. And then we just kind of like filled them in.
Let me interject here. Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah.
So what happened with that was, and I was sending a few things back and forth. Bruce sent me a song called The Misunderstood, which was sort of, to me, autobiographical, because he talked about a band that was a little older than him as when he was young, and how he was worshiping them, and they disappeared into space. And I found that interesting because Bruce always would talk about a few people, especially one guitarist, that he sort of wanted to emulate. And the guitarist went to a point, he did something different, and then the guitarist died. And I always equated The Misunderstood in a way with the one person that he sort of followed that sort of got to a certain point and died, like went into outer space, but didn't come back. Whereas in the song,
actually, Glenn Ross Campbell is still alive. He lives in Australia.
Well, what about the Padres pitcher?
Oh, that was the guy I played with. We went to school together. Yeah.
That's what I equated that to. But The Misunderstood really captured my attention. And the one thing about that is whenever you hear a demo, you try to do something and you want to stray a little bit from the demo, but you always have to refer to the demo. And I always felt I never got the song the way the demo was to me. Even though Bruce says he loves the way the song sounds, I always thought I referred to the demo. You know how sometimes you hear a certain song or an artist and the hairs on your arms stand up? That's what happened with The Misunderstood. I just felt, wow, this is unbelievable. This is what we should go forward on, this type of thing, which was a little bit different than our first record.
Amazing.
And that one came out on the reunion record.
Yeah, if you want to call it a reunion.
So I think one thing about the new one, I don't even actually know if we verbally discussed this, but it seemed to be sort of a thing that we agreed on somehow, is that like with the exception of our covers record, which was just 5 covers done weirdly, you know, sort of as a space fuller, the first album and Sorrows both have a lot of diversions. There's instrumental bits, there's covers, there's ballads, there's instrumentals, there's like all sorts of stuff. On this one, we said, let's skip all of that and let's just make a really solid hard rock metal record and just kind of keep it undiluted, no little asides, no kind of detours. Let's just keep straight ahead and just rock out. And so that was kind of the mission statement. So that's what we were working from.
Awesome. And talking about the album, 8 amazing songs, beautifully done, great songwriting, the diversity of music, the rawness of the rock sound, and everything was perfect in this new album. I totally enjoyed each and every song from this album. As a band, how do you feel about the outcome of this one?
Go ahead, Ray. I'm going to grab some coffee real quick. You start.
Okay. Yeah, Bruce is earlier time period in Los Angeles. So this is what I felt. As far as the songs went, I liked all of the songs, except you always second guess yourself. I kept thinking there's something within Digging That Grave and End of Time. There's a raw aggressiveness that I always kept referring back to and thinking, are we really sort of achieving that sort of youthful exuberance? I know we're older, but we still have the same, I have the same feelings and thoughts that I did as a early 20-year-old in heavy metal music, and I haven't changed, and I don't plan on changing. And so all of the songs that we did, I liked them all, but I always kept second guessing myself, feeling, are they heavy enough? Like the actual stuff that we thought, that we loved at the beginning, like Digging That Grave, like End of Time. My favorite song on there is God Told Me To. But I believe we did achieve it. I think you always just second guess yourself when you do something and there's a span of time.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Well, okay, so 2017 is when Sorrows came out, and we pretty much started talking about this right away. So we were in, again, I get years mixed up, but I guess it was Christmas time, 2018. Ray came out here and we went into the studio and tracked most of the stuff. And so we've been working on it since then. And it seemed like it took a long time and a lot of stuff back and forth. It took a long time for Jussi, who owns Ektro in Finland. He mastered it. And a lot of just everything was a lot of back and forth. It was harder to make, even though we made it. We were more, I mean, the fact that Ray came out here and we did a big session over a couple of days where we did track and do a lot of guitars and bass. And we didn't do that on Sorrows. Even though we did have that amount of together time, it still seemed like it was, for whatever reason, harder to put together than Sorrows. Maybe because we jumped right into it. I don't really know why. And so even at the test pressing, oh, we finally got CDs, all those points, I'd listen to it and I'm like, did we get this right? I've been like second guessing it for a while. And I actually had the records and the CDs here and was listening to them back both and forth, A, B'ing them, and just like really putting myself through the grinder. And I finally came to the point where, yeah, it's good. Shut up, leave it alone. You did okay. But it took me a while to get to that point.
I think that's what the length of time between records can do. There's one thing I wanted to mention about everything, including the last record, which we did even in a greater fashion. Everything you hear on our records is us live. Then there are overdubs, of course, but everything you hear, even when Bruce and I and drummer did all the rhythm tracks, Bruce sang everything. So the whole thing that we did was not like doing it to a click track, not like, okay, I'll play with a drummer and then you add a bunch of stuff. These were all real band tracks. And that's what's amazing about our newest record. It's actual live music. And I believe because the way we play, it's easy to pull that off. Because I play all the time, and so does Bruce. So it was nice to actually, even though nobody might know it, realize that these are real jester tracks where we actually rock the beat at Kitten Robot.
Amazing.
Yeah, Kitten Robot Studios. It's kind of a lost art, I guess, and so especially you think about, I mean, I don't know how true this is, but you think about hard rock and metal being, you know, it's band music. Bands get together and write it and come up with it and play it. But a lot of metal nowadays, the majority, from what I understand, is not done that way. And like, they may go in and track live, but just so they all get the song together. But usually once that's done, especially on a lot of faster stuff with like a lot of double kick drum and stuff like that, they'll then quantize the drums with Beat Detective or something similar, and basically put the drummer in a locked groove, and then everyone overdubs over that. And so it's not like a band playing together at all. It's all sort of computerized and assembled, even though it's a metal band. And I don't know, that I like it to kind of move around a little bit and not be exactly correct, because that's how people play, and that's how songs get feeling and stuff.
Isn't that what made the Beatles and the Stones and Black Sabbath so fantastic? When you listen
I mean, those bands didn't play to a click track.
You're not kidding. But their feel was so amazing. That's what, in a way, sometimes if I listen to something and I turn it off because I'm tired of listening to it, usually it's because it's something so mechanical, even if it's a band playing, that I find, I just find it's unrewarding to me. And I don't know what it is, except maybe it is that it's so exacting, where everyone plays so exacting, that you just get sort of beaten to death with that. I mean, you interviewed a band a while ago called Blue Heron from, I think, New Mexico. They seem to play, as opposed to a lot of other bands that I've read interviews from you, Keith, they seem to play more like us, just loose and free, but the feeling, it has to be right. And their stuff feels great.
What were they called?
Blue Heron. They're from
I've heard of them.
Where Elsa is from? New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Right.
Yes.
Check that out.
Yep. And you guys have any special plans on the day of the release on October 21st?
Well, I guess we got a debut. I'm actually not positive about this. We have a debut of our video for the song Lucifer, but I'm not sure if it comes out on the 25th or a couple days before. I guess I need to figure that out. But the amazing John Freeman will let us know about that. But yeah, that's it. We're going to debut the video, and then be a lot of interviews and stuff like this, and we'll yak about it for a few weeks and then disappear for another decade. I don't know.
Hey, Bruce, you've never seen this, but I showed this to Keith. You see this? This is the music in the mix for Lucifer.
Oh, wow. Looks different than mine. That's much more. I just have a little one screen. It's about the size of what I'm on.
Well, I thought you'd find it interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you color code those color coding of the tracks. Is that for like whether they're send returns and?
No, all it means is these are all guitars, these are drums.
I see. You do it by section. Interesting. Okay.
I do it because my memory is so short. Rather than trying to remember who's on what track. In fact, I have to laugh that I just said that, because Bruce, how many times have we put up a 24 track? Bruce and I used to record on analog all the time, 24 track, 2-inch tape. And we would always think, what's on that track? Because half the time we wouldn't even write stuff down thinking we'd remember. We never did. Finally, we went back and had to write what everything was. And luckily, we always listened before we recorded on tracks to make sure we had previously recorded something on it. But that's why
I found a tape in my closet, 2-inch tape, and it was from Fiesta Studio, which was a studio downtown LA. Recorded a lot of ranchero stuff, and Ray worked there on a bunch of records. Got it, and that's where we did the covers record in a nostalgic mood. But apparently, according to this tape, we had gone in on a weekend with a very unusual lineup of the band. It was our third drummer, Dave Kuzma, but our final guitarist, Brian Damage, if you will. And they only played together for a very short time because Kuzma quit, and that's when we got Blaze and did all the final recordings. So it's sort of unusual lineup. We did a couple songs we played live, and then a song we never played live that was just called, had a working title in the tape, but neither of us remembered it. I'm pretty sure Ray came up with it from the style of it. And then 2 songs we used to play live. They're not quite complete, but pretty close. So I got the tape digitized, and I've actually got it all sort of in my computer, and I did a couple raw mixes. So as time gets on and people get a little bored with this record, we're going to do these like 3 songs from, I believe it's 88, and we're going to just kind of reissue them as a fun thing.
And we need
try to recreate those sounds that we had in the 80s and not sound too modern.
And there's another song I think I sent you the drums to it that was originally Search and Destroy that you changed.
I don't remember
that. It ended up being Loving You in the Year of the Plague. We should.
Oh yeah. We have that. A lot of stuff. There's stuff hanging around still. So we'll probably you'll probably see that in 2023.
Wonderful.
You won't see it in 2022. Yeah, that's for sure. We're too close.
Wonderful. And any plans to go on a tour for the support of this album?
Probably not. You never know. But sometimes odd things happen. It wouldn't be beyond the stretch of an imagination for say Walter from Roadburn to give us a shout and maybe want us to come and do a Roadburn or something like that. So you never know.
Gotcha. And on September 23rd, you released your first video, Your Lord Good God. A great song, great music video. I enjoyed that video, to be honest. But would you like to tell me a bit about the making of this video and about this song?
Ray, you sort of spearheaded that. Let him have it.
Well, this is the thrust of what happened. We wanted to put out a different song. And especially our promoters was saying maybe we should put out a different song, which was a good idea, we thought. And he said, let's just put a figurehead picture for the song, which we also have as well as the video. And the picture was just a mirror image thing I did of me. And I kept thinking and talking to Bruce about this. I said, Bruce, every time I listen to music, if there's just a static picture, it's somewhat disappointing to me. So I said, let's do a record, but do a video, but let's make a video that actually is something that no one's done. Just your face singing the song, but make it almost as if it's a mugshot, like in a jail. And of course, the song depicts something that would be similar to somebody having a mugshot in a jail. And so Bruce said, man, I don't know if I can pull that off. And then I said, I'm sure you can. And the video director, Ken Holmes, said, yes. And I talked with him on the side. He said, Bruce would be great doing that because he's so understanding of what the camera is and how to look into it. So within a 4-day period, we did it. It was over and done with. Maybe we should do more of that type of thing.
It was
Not
very quick. Yeah, it was interesting. And Ken's easy to work with. But the promoter John, he was like, yeah, just do a visualizer. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So I looked it up, and it says, they use it a lot on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. You could do it in your phone. It's just like a program and an app, and it makes the thing out of music based on like if we had taken the cover shot that he was talking about, ran that through the visualizer, it had sparkles and it would have kind of moved around, and that would have been it. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. That just looks like cheese ball. I mean,
I agree.
So, I mean, I think I was pretty skeptical about the idea, but it ended up working out, and I think it came out pretty cool.
Amazing, amazing. And what would be some of the upcoming plans for the band?
Well, just kind of getting through this thing right here that we've been working on so long, and hopefully just make a really good promotion, do as many interviews as we can, just make as much noise as we can about this record. Try to get a little radio, I mean, not like that's normal, but there's weirdo stations and stuff, and a lot of stuff on the internet where they'll play music like this. So going to pursue that a little bit too.
Cool. And a long journey for you guys since the early 80s. So how has it been for you so far?
Say that again.
You had a pretty long journey from the early 80s. So how has the musical journey been for you both so far?
The whole journey for me, it's been fantastic. Bruce is the easiest person I've ever had to work with as a partner in music. And as a good example is a lot of times I'll have a musical idea, complete musical idea, but only the chorus lyrics. And even if I only have part of the chorus lyrics, Bruce will say, I hear something in that. Let me just take that and run with it. And the next thing you know, it's another Jester song. So he's been amazing for me to work with. I'm lucky.
Yeah, and it works the other way too, because Ray will take something on a song I wrote that it's still the same song, but he'll put a twist in it that sort of gesturizes it. I mean, they're little things, but they're important things, like that guitar players think of, like, for example, on that the really long one that ends the song, when it goes to a slightly faster part, there's this riff and it goes, and instead of doing that, he did a string band, like kind of like Alice in Chains type of deal. I wouldn't have thought of it, but it just sort of makes the song come alive at that point. And, you know, there was like even one that really sticks in my mind is when we did God Told Me To, I had this sort of like syncopated riff. And he goes, nah, you're never going to sing over that, right? And he just kind of changed the rhythm of it. Like, oh, now it flows. So, you know, it's a partnership and give and take. I think we both agreed, you know, since the last two records, when we lived in different cities and different parts of the country, we do miss the days where we used to just sit at the board together and go, what about this? You're just right there. You don't have to like send something back and forth or have a debate about it. You just, well, did that work? Because you're in real time, in reality, and it's just a different way of working. It almost seems like, I don't want to sound stupid, but the old days, I feel like everybody, I read Tape Op magazine and stuff. It seems like everybody's kind of in this world of you send me that track and I'll do this. And the idea of a band as a band getting into the studio and recording is like, oh, can we do that? It's almost like a return to like how records used to be made. And I just wish more people were doing it more often.
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. And finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans around the world?
The message? I don't know if there's a message. I don't know if we've ever had a message. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, messages, it's no laughing matter.
Yeah, no laughing matter. I feel like the messages of the songs come out well after they're written. Like, I didn't know what Your Lord, Good God was about. And then when I was doing the video, because I thought I was just filling in gaps to get the thing done. And then when I was recording it with Ken, I was like, this song does make sense. And it was like a sort of a psychological thing that I hadn't even realized at the time. And that's kind of the way it worked out. And, you know, sometimes you don't know this stuff till took me a long time. And at one point I went back to the first album and I said, these are all pre-Beatles 1960s teenage torch songs, just rewritten in a different way. You know, Love Dust is Love Potion number 9. Dig in That Grave is Do the Jerk. I mean, they're all like, so, you know, God Told Me is like a teenage troubled Phil Spector song. And they're just 80s rewrites of it. And I think I kind of still do that. And I don't know why. And it's not conscious, but I kind of just refer to these old playbooks of old timey songs and say, well, how would you do it nowadays?
It's interesting because when you think of Your Lord, Good God, it's like the next step from God Told Me To. So we almost reiterate certain themes in different ways, even if we don't do it consciously.
In other words, we're stuck with ourselves.
Wonderful.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
And Ray and Bruce, I want to thank you both for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on this interview, and a real pleasure for me to see you guys. And thank you so much for putting up an amazing album, Distorting Everything, this year. Great album, amazing songs. I totally dig it. Thank you so much for this amazing music, and looking forward to see more music from you guys in the coming years.
Sounds great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.